Hey all, welcome back to the channel, and today I'm feeling just a little bit accomplished. Why? Because of this guy. Well, these guys. I'll explain what I mean when we look at my custom tip-top and heater in the latest GotBot True review. Hey all, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, your most humble of hosts, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, man, please like, comment, share, of course, subscribe, and while you're at it, light them up, baby. Hit that notification bell, please. It helps me out a ton. It lets you know when content of all sorts goes up here on the channel. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, all the groups that I'm either a mod or admin for, and all of my social media links. All of that is down in the description below. If you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon. See what we offer to you through Teespring, or of course you can hit the join button right here on YouTube and become a channel member. And this is Titans Return Quake. But you will notice that he now has in his hands versions of his target master partners, being Heater and Tiptop. There are two of them. A little while ago, man, I looked at Spinister and I was very glad to be able to give him his partners, and I thought that I was done. I thought that I was caught up with all of the target masters that I needed for the characters that I have in my collection, the ones that have been released so far. And then somebody pointed out Quake. And then I was sad. But luckily, as fate would have it, things worked out, and now I have these two. I wasn't planning to necessarily look at them here on the channel, but a bunch of people asked to take a closer look at them. So that's what we're going to do. In fact, without any further ado, let's head over to the table and take a closer look at these guys. So the story of this guy, along with his two target masters, kind of goes back just a little bit. I looked at Spinister back in episode 642, and I said then that he was tremendous, but he didn't have his target master partners. Well, when I looked at Rotor Storm in episode 794, I touched on the fact that I had done a custom singe and a custom hair splitter that I was pretty happy with, to be honest with you. And I said then that I was glad that finally I had target masters for all of my guys that should have target masters. And then somebody pointed out Quake, and I was like, oh man. And I was sad again. By the way, for the record, I looked at G1 Spinister with Singe and Hair Splitter way back in episode 209. I loved the G1 version, so I'm tickled that we got an updated version. When we got Quake in Titans Return, of course, again, he did not have his partners. Enter the Sparkless Seeker. I looked at him in episode 852, and he came with a Sparkless Caliburst and a Sparkless Singe. And I said, you know what? I think I'm going to use those guys to make Heater and Tiptop. And indeed, that's what I did. I didn't necessarily plan to take a look at them here, but a lot of people asked if I could kind of give a little bit of a closer look at them, especially because one of them actually has a custom 3D printed barrel thanks to Grimlock Gone. So that's what we're going to do. Here is the kind of trio together in robot form. And here we have all four of the target masters that I just mentioned. Starting right here at the beginning, we have my custom hair splitter. I did basically use a version of Caliburst, the stock retail release that came out, to make this guy, and I painted him up. The legs are different. I actually switched the legs on hair splitter and Singe just to differentiate them a bit. I did have to do some cutting on the back of these legs so that when we transform to blaster mode, he is able to have the legs fit down, because they don't normally fit very well because they're not designed for him. So I did switch the legs out, so that's a little bit different. Then this is my custom Singe made from a Firebolt, because the stock release of Singe never did come here first nor last. However, the barrel, and I'm going to take this guy out of it, the barrel on this Singe was extremely loose. Well, I guess this Firebolt really was extremely loose. So loose that it was a challenge for it to stay on. So when I got the Sparkless Seeker set, I actually said, hey, we have another Singe here. This guy. So I took the green barrel off of him and put it on this guy, and it is toleranced much better. So what did I do then with the Singe that was left over now without a barrel? Well, that's what we're about to get into. But before we look at him, we're going to look at... Now, there's actually no fiction to really compare this guy to because he wasn't on the program, neither was Quake, and they weren't really in the comics except for one point when Quake is in tank mode. We kind of see that he has like an extra blaster, and I believe that was issue 75, 76, somewhere around there. And we may have seen it one more time, but we never actually saw Heater per se. So we really, in this case, kind of have to go off his coloration as he was cast in plastic in G1. And this is actually fairly close. The shoulders should be blue as they are, the thighs should be blue. Really, the entire pelvis should be this kind of metallic-y, pinkish, fuchsia type of color, and his face should also be that metallic-y, pinkish, fuchsia type of color. I didn't want to do the face because the visors are already red, and I didn't want to risk painting it over on something this small, so I left the face. And the lower arms, the legs, and the torso should all be black. In this case, the peg was already black on the chest. The arms and the legs I did, and I left the rest of it kind of gray because I thought it worked all right that way. I didn't need a sea of black. This started off as sparkless caliburst. So it is a slight departure. In terms of coloration, the guy is, like if you know the character, then the guy is probably about a 7.5. In terms of articulation, it's the same as we've always had, with the arms able to go around and the legs forward and back and out to the side. 5, I guess, and the transformation's exactly the same, about a 5. I mean, it's not anything super duper spectacular, but he is a nice lad. We will see him in his blaster mode. I'm not showing the transformation because we've seen it with the Battle Masters a billion times already. I like the guy. Overall, I'm going to say he is about a 7. Pretty good little target master to go with Quake. And so with our boy Tiptop, we decided to make him out of the sparkless singe. And he did require more work. Again, this guy appeared in the comics the same sort of way Heater did. It's all honestly kind of debatable. I mean, I think this guy is sometimes accredited with being Quake's turret in the comics, but like, I think that's open for debate because some of the coloration and stuff that went on in the comics was a little iffy. So again, we're going to kind of compare this guy to his G1 release. And in his G1 release, his body was, we'll say, a base purple, which is kind of what I did here. And the shoulders are orange, which I did here. The lower tummy, maybe, we'll say, not even lower tummy, the pelvis is orange. So I kind of did the upper hips in orange here. And the face is maroon and the thighs are maroon. I did not paint the face maroon, but I did do the thighs in a kind of a dark, sort of shiny, metallic-y type of red. This is pretty close. Again, I think this is closer actually than Heater. I'm going to say in this case it's a solid, I'm going to say 9.25 for the character. In terms of articulation, exactly the same, with the arms able to go all the way around and the legs able to go forward and back and out to the side as they always have. But this guy is supposed to have a singular barrel. And in order to accomplish that, we had to remove Singe's piece, which of course we now know was put with my custom Singe. And this 3D printed singular barrel fits in there perfect. It is toleranced excellent. This is courtesy of Grimlock Gone. So when we transform this guy, I'm going to show it here because I just want to show that it's, you know, it's simple still. It works the exact same way. That flips around. The legs go together. They flip up and go down into the slot. You'll notice our peg is still green because there wasn't much point in painting that if he has to be held. And here you can see him really in his blaster mode. I do need to get him a little more perfected, but you get the idea. It still transforms the exact same way. 5 or so for articulation, 5 or so for transformation. Overall, this guy is probably more like an 8. I really like the look of this guy. I really like the functionality of this guy. And now I can honestly say that I feel really good about my double target masters in the modern era. It's easy with Spinister because he's covered in 5mm ports, so even in alt mode, you're able to pretty much find locations to put the two target masters. Does it look cumbersome? Sure it does, but you can do it. With Quake, the one weakness is that Titans Return did not have an abundance of 5mm pegs, and really the only way to affix either of these guys in alt mode is on the top of his barrel piece here. Remove this blaster and put one of the Target Master lads in there. Other than that, I have yet to be able to find a way to kind of store them in alt mode, which is a bit of a shame, but not a deal breaker. Could we use a new Quake? Yeah, probably. I still love this one. I love that head sculpt. For now, I'm happy with this. For now, I'm able to look at this and say, I feel content that I have Target Masters to go with my Target Masters. Now, I believe, based on every one that I have, Autobot Decepticon, I think everyone who should have a Target Master now finally does have a partner. And that makes me feel pretty good. As a set, I'll say that these guys overall are about a 7.5, 8. I mean, they are what they are, but they do look the part. And here we are once again, and here they are. Nice little trio. I'm happy with this. I really am. I'm okay with the Battle Masters. I'm so thankful that Grimlock Gun was able to afford me really the proper barrel for Tiptop. I'm cool with that. Really cool with that. This feels good because now this marks kind of the conclusion of having the partners that should go with the various Target Master guys. Like I do have a Fracas that goes with Scourge. I do have and I recently looked at this, a custom nightstick that goes with my Cyclonus. All of the Autobot guys, well, the Autobot guys I have, it's not many of them. I mean, I have Scoop and his two buddies. I have a partner that goes with Crosshairs. You know, so like I'm happy with that. For the Decepticons, the trio of like Slug Slinger and Misfire and Aimless, they have their partners. Spinister has his, and now, thankfully, this guy has his. Plus, I should point out, Blur and Cup, I have Target Masters of Recoil and Haywire done for those guys as well. And Rodimus, or Hot Rod, whichever one, I do have Firebolt. So, like, I'm happy with that. Hopefully we'll get the other couple of missing Autobot lads, but it feels good. It feels good to have this done. It was a bit of paint work. It was a little bit of leg work, but in the end, I'm happy with how it turned out. Heater is a little bit more stylized than Tiptop, but I'm cool with that. Let me know what you think about these guys and whether or not you want to kind of add Target Master partners to your Quake. Yes, we could probably use a new Quake, but until that day comes, I still like the Titans Return lad. I appreciate you guys coming by, giving me some of your extremely valuable time. I do know how important it is to you. If you are in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link, check us out on Patreon, see what we offer to you through Teespring, or of course you can hit the join button right here on YouTube, baby, to become a channel member. While you're at it, hit the subscribe button, and don't forget that somehow, someway, each and every single day, you do make a difference. And I look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit, either in the live streams, at the stop motion premieres, or the old-fashioned way, baby, right here inside the videos.